Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast, coming to you from the year 2017.
The future.
The future now.
Hopefully you have joined us
Yes.
in the year 2017.
Yeah.
We're just getting the hell out of 2016. Done with it. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
I just want to make one comment on 2016 and 2017. So the iPhones have an app that can make you play games with other people.
Uh-huh.
Make you?
Yeah. It's like you have to. You can't not do it. It's called Game Pigeon. But so I was playing Battleship basically, and I ended up destroying two of my friend's ships in one turn because apparently for this game on the iPhone, it's if you get a hit, you get to do it again and again. And then he just goes, "You son of a bitch, you stay back in 2016," because he was in Kentucky, and he was just like, "Yeah." I was like, "We're still in the shitty year," and he's like, "You deserve to stay there."
All right.
What'd you guys do for New Year's?
Yeah, how was that thing, Jeff?
That was fun. It was fun.
Was everybody dressed up? Because I saw
Not everyone.
Okay,
Not everyone. So the invite. So it was a Denver couch surfing house party thing that Ant helps run, I guess. And
Yeah.
the thing said fancy. I was not told fancy until
Okay.
I showed up at Wes's, and everyone was fancy, and I was like, "Oh shit!" But there were very many not fancy people
Okay.
there, and a couple fancy people.
See,
Gotcha.
I thought, because when you left here, you were saying that you had to go home and change and get ready and everything. So I thought you knew it was fancy.
Otherwise,
he
I
did
would-
change.
I said to change. He got a long sleeve shirt on.
I did. Button up.
Yeah, buttoned up.
No,
so-
see, I tried to find my black button up and slacks, and I couldn't find my tie. And I was like, fuck it. And I was like, this'll do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right on. Zach?
I was at Wes's until about 11:30, and then I started feeling crappy. And then I left, and luckily I got home at 11:58, just in time for me to actually cheers New Year's with my roommates. So I was like, I would have been really mad if I was like, it's midnight and I'm driving on the highway.
Oh, yeah.
Well, knowing that you left early makes me feel better about not stopping by Wes's, because I dilly-dallied around here, and then I texted Eldar. I was like, dude, I know it's late, but I got caught up board gaming. Is it still cool if I swing by? And he was like, yep. And so I went up to his place. His parents do a big Russian New Year's thing, which they give out gifts and stuff. I got some nice, fancy, girly soap that I'm totally going to regift to Megan in like 2 months for her birthday. So 4 months. Her birthday's in...
Is this
5
also,
months, May.
Okay. Is this also going to be edited out as well?
She doesn't listen to the
Okay.
podcast.
She'll never know.
Hey, Megan.
You'll never guess what we discussed on the podcast.
A bird told me what Adrian is going to give you.
But it was cool. Nick was up there. Lavolo.
Gotcha.
And Sager and Carrie. I hadn't seen them in a while.
Nice.
Eldar and Shadron, obviously.
I mean, I'd hope so.
Yeah.
It's just like you and Eldar's parents.
Dude, his dad is like just an older version of him.
No, he definitely
It's
is. yeah.
fantastic.
I went up there once for Eldar's birthday, and it was great.
Yeah. But
The main thing we did on New Year's Eve?
well, so before we move on, while we're on the topic of Eldar's New Year's thing, so Eldar is super Russian. Like his parents, I'm pretty sure, like,
They're also Russian.
well, yes, they're also Russian. Yeah, I think they came to the U.S. under less than ideal circumstances.
Yes, they did, yeah.
Anyway. But the best thing about going to their place for New Year's, I've done it 2 years in a row now, is that they have on their TV, I don't know if it's like through their cable package or something, but they get a lot of Russian TV.
Okay.
And so in Russia, apparently like a week before New Year's, they get all the Russian celebrities they can together, and they put them in a big venue, and they do this big, long, ridiculous show where they fake countdown to New Year. And there's all kinds of weird songs and dancing and skits and just craziness. It's ridiculous, but it is incredibly entertaining to watch.
So for Russians, like New Year's is like the big holiday. It's like they really couldn't celebrate Christmas, I guess, and other religious holidays or anything like that.
Something about Stalin and communism crushing religion, and so Christmas was not a preferred holiday.
Yeah.
In Soviet
Anyway,
Russia.
yeah. So basically, New Year's was basically and everyone just goes crazy.
So they give gifts, and they have like a Santa Claus type person, Krampus, that comes around.
I think Krampus, isn't he the goat guy that steals children?
There's like 7 different versions of Krampus.
Well, I know the one that steals children and brings them back to hell.
Yes,
So it
because
might-
they were bad.
and it might not be Krampus, but it's something similar. He's like a sneaky troll guy who leaves you presents, but can also be mischievous.
Okay.
I don't
Doesn't
know.
sound like
But
Krampus.
that-
Krampus
but that
is
all
mainly
happens
just
around
the
New Year's.
kid kidnapping.
Yeah.
And probably eating.
Yeah,
I bet he eats them.
But
like
yeah.
with an iron cage on his back that he throws the kids into.
A wicker
I saw
cage.
some.
Or he beats you with wicker or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw some statues that was pretty crazy.
Anyway.
Yeah, so what we actually did on New Year is we had a game day, though. Or New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve game day.
Yes,
We played, we started off, we got Le Havre to the table again,
Yeah,
4-player Le Havre.
we started off with Crokinole. Thank
We
you
did,
very much.
because Jeff was massively hungover.
That's because I played Ant at Blood Bowl the day previous at Epic.
Oh yeah, and you had to.
That was probably
away
all,
some
yeah, that
bullshit.
was all part of his master plan. You should have known when he invites you to play at Epic that he's just going to get you drunk so that you,
know,
make mistakes.
It's totally fine. It's worth it because I drank for free.
Yep,
Had a lot of Baptista.
stuff is delicious.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so those of you who follow us on Twitter might have saw that Zach apparently has convinced a couple of our friends to pick up games that he's interested in, including Paul, who
Yep.
talked into buying Crokinole.
He was going to do the Kickstarter until he realized that he'd have to wait till April or May, and he just said, fuck it, and bought one from Willard's in Canada. And we played some of that, and it was great.
Yeah, my first time ever playing, I went on a 4-game win streak, I
Yes.
believe. I think I lost my 5th one, but I went on a nice little 4-game win streak. Overall, I liked it. I had never played Crokinole, so that was my first time going for it, and I enjoyed it. It was fun.
It's a fun little agility game.
It was interesting playing with 4 players because I hadn't done that before.
That was a fun variant, yeah.
So it's weird because usually it's the opponents on the other side of it. Now they're to your left, and so I know there are multiple times where you hit stuff and you missed it, and I'm like, Adrian, what are you doing? I can hit those. You should hit those ones over there that are farther away from me.
Zach and I were teammates, and we did real bad.
We did.
Which leaves me in this.
Which is shocking because Paul flicked all 6 of his just immediately off,
It was hilarious.
and I still carried the game apparently.
Yep.
I would be interested. I know, like Paul said, he was watching like Championship Crokinole on YouTube.
Yes.
I would be
like,
interested
before.
in watching that.
Because I'm curious. It sounds like the way you guys were talking about it, like in a lot of the championship ones, like they're like center shot and then center shot and center shot, and it's basically who misses first on shooting for the center. Whereas like I feel like there's almost got to be some kind of strategy like that. I mean, maybe obviously not if the champions aren't playing this way, but I would have thought that there'd be some strategy for the first player to hit their piece inside that center ring in a really hard to hit spot, so that their opponent keeps missing, and then they can just shoot on the net while their opponent has to keep hitting theirs first.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's definitely a strategy with that, but most of the time, like you said, it's going for the center. That's 20 points. You don't have to worry about losing.
Yeah.
And getting behind in that game sucks.
Yeah.
Because, like, every time you knock one of their pieces off, your piece needs to stay on there, or otherwise you haven't moved it back into your favor.
Shuffleboard rules.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a great game.
Yeah, it's a big board.
One of my favorite things
A
about
heavy
it,
board.
yeah, it took up a good chunk of the table.
Yeah.
It's solid.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about playing Crokinole is the failures.
Yep.
like on both sides, like whether it was me or somebody else, like you flick it towards the center, like their thing is right perfectly, should be easy to hit, and somehow you manage to ricochet off like 3 pegs and then shoot off the board without touching anything of theirs.
Yeah, I had that happen where it was I hit 4 bumpers and it shot off, and there were 3 of your things right near where it hit. But all of them are just silent and stone. Like they might as well have been stone, just not moving at all.
Or I had that one in the 4-player game where I flicked it directly between 2 of theirs.
Yeah.
And like we picked it up and they're like, how did you do that? We like slid it between, and there was like a centimeter
Yes. Yeah.
on either side. Probably not even that much. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
You couldn't have tried.
It's a perfect shot.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Perfectly imperfect. You had one in one of our early games, Zach, where you went to shoot at one of mine and ended up hitting like 3 of yours and
Yes.
still didn't touch mine.
Yep.
And so then all 3 of yours are off the board.
Yeah, that was a game changer right there.
Game changer.
So that's my favorite thing. I don't think I'd ever want to play at like a really highly competitive level because they wouldn't make those kinds of mistakes. And that's where I had some of my, even when I'd lose, like it would just be so ridiculous.
Yep,
Then we played Le Havre.
we did.
Yep, 4-player.
My first time playing Le Havre.
Paul got some really cool new player mats that he left here, so they're mine now.
Yeah. I thought that they we were playing with your copy, right?
Yes.
Then I thought he just gave those to you. So
There you go, Paul. Since I'm pretty sure you listen, then those are mine now.
Those is.
yep,
Thanks for printing those off, buddy.
It's definitely a Rosenberg game.
it is.
It is still my favorite. You know, I haven't played it in a little while since I'd gotten like Feast for Odin and stuff, and it's the right mix of like tense decisions, but you don't ever have one thing that you need to do and then somebody doesn't, you're screwed. You can usually like, all right, well, I guess I can work for this instead and kind of move around a bit. I like a lot of the different mechanics. I like the one builder action pawn that you have that stays, so you can block things indefinitely.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Things like that.
I'm trying to figure out. So I used to have a top 5 for Rosenberg games. I'm wondering now, can I do a top 6 and then have my number 2 just be blank, so I can just be like, here's Patchwork, and then nothing, and then all these others.
So you're saying
Patchwork every other game in existence, and then those.
No, definitely not. No, Oregon Trail would still be below all those other games.
True.
But no, it's just playing these more. I'm just like, oh, God, I just feel I don't know. I still don't know what those 3: the Caverna, Feast for Odin, and what's the last one?
Agricola?
No, Le Havre, the one we were just talking about.
Gotcha. Agricola is just not even on
No,
there.
that's
Agricola's
5. That's
not
5.
on there.
That's
Okay.
5. Out of all those, I still just can't figure out which one I'd rather play out of those.
I feel
I still like Feast for Odin and Caverna more than Le Havre.
I feel like this time next year, Zach, you and I just aren't even going to be able to play games together anymore. Like, we're going in 2 entirely opposite directions. in our taste for games.
It's not that. Like I still liked. Obviously we'll always have Terraforming Mars. There are heavier ones. I just like his games. I don't know. I've started getting a bit of disconnect from. Maybe I don't know.
Unless it's Caverna.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
We've
I've only
only
played
had
that
the one
once.
play, yeah.
So
I've played it more than that.
yeah.
It's good.
I think a lot of it is just. I just hate that art so much.
Yeah, and there's
It's
a lot of it.
So ugly.
There's so
And
much
it's- Oh God.
See, I like that art.
The
you can
Agricola
like bad
is-
art. That's fine.
The Caverna art is better than the Agricola art
Yeah.
because the Agricola art is all over those cards that I hate.
Yeah.
And this one is just tiles.
Well, it's just I know it's just a bunch of people at angles that just make it like
Yeah.
it just
Just pay attention to the text. It's fine.
it's Euro art, and I think I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like that style. So
Then we played some Mystic Vale,
yep.
and we'll talk about that here in a little bit more. Then after Mystic Vale, we played Bloodborne, which
I knew you wouldn't like.
I didn't like at all. It did not take me long.
Yep.
It was like 2 or 3 turns in. I was like, oh my God, I'm just ready to be done.
just in my defense, I said I don't think Adrian's gonna like this game.
You called it 100%.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a. I think it's like it's a good filler game. I don't think
It's
it's
interesting.
I don't think it's mind blowing or anything.
I think it's too long to be a filler.
well. Also, we were taking longer than
we were dying a lot because
Yeah,
of the boss. And
yeah.
It's a nice co-op, semi-competitive,
Yes.
press your luck and hope you don't die.
Yeah.
That was
game.
probably my favorite thing about it was the semi co-op. Like you
we have to kill it,
you
'cause if we
need to
don't-
work together to kill the monsters and the bosses, but you also don't want your opponents to do too good at killing.
You don't want them to kill it without you getting in there, but you also would be like, I would like to kill it before anybody else got a chance to.
I would like everyone else to die while
Yes.
I kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was at least 1, if not 2 times where I forgot how low my health was, and I died, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
God.
and we were playing with -2 health the whole
Yeah,
game
that
because of
sucks.
the final boss.
Yeah.
and
It also
then
didn't help that we started with...
we drew all 3 bosses, first 3 creatures,
Yep.
and had no upgrades at all.
So they said to stay around, we just kept dying, and
Yep.
it was... Yeah. Yeah.
So game night last week, I wasn't there because I was in Seattle visiting my girlfriend. But we were at Rack House. You guys played our giant pandemic.
I watched people play.
Oh, you didn't
I
play?
played.
No, I didn't play.
Wow.
I helped moderate.
You were the
2
bioterrorist
I was the
again.
bioterrorist
Again.
in the very hot, sweaty suit.
Yep.
It smelled just like home. I'm getting quite the crotch rip in that
Yeah,
suit,
you are.
though,
Yeah.
so
It's just the massive balls. They just...
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 2 full games of that in. I had to sprint home and get my Pandemic Legacy because Ant forgot to bring an infection deck because we didn't print those cards.
Yep.
We just used a regular one.
Because they don't need to be printed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still fun.
Yep.
Cool.
It's
I saw
Pandemic.
that What's Eric playing.
Yep.
Evidently, he was at Gen Con and played.
You know
our
what's funny? I
Pandemic.
actually remember. I think I remember him taking a picture.
Well, I remember several people taking pictures because I was always like, "Hey."
No, but
you know.
I've seen a picture of. I've seen a couple pictures of him, and I'm like going back. I'm like, I remember a guy with like a decently nice looking camera that looked sort of like that taking pictures.
I think I was in one of those.
Yes.
I know Bob
You're
was.
all three of us are
Yeah.
in the picture he took.
Yeah.
I'm off on the side sitting against the wall.
don't
Zach,
think
you're standing there somewhere, and Jeff, you're full bioterrorist.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think you played at all, did you?
No, well,
play?
I didn't play. I don't think I helped with moderation stuff a little bit
Okay.
here and
Yeah.
there.
Did not take part.
No.
But yeah, one of the few places that we can actually get that game out because it is large and in charge.
Yes, it is.
Well, I'll have it out at Barrels for the anniversary party
Yes.
too. Sorry, Zach.
God. It's the fact that
And
you moved it and
Maybe
then moved.
sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe both of us can't go.
Yeah.
And
It's
if we can't go, you're not going.
Yeah.
Break both of his legs.
Yeah, Adrian, it's the
Time-
fact that you moved there. You were like, oh, we can't make it. And you're like, oh, okay, fine. We'll just move it to the 28th. And then like a month or two later,
It wasn't a month later. It was like 2 weeks later.
it doesn't matter. It's still like, yeah, we're going to have, because you know what, fuck you guys. We're just going to move it back to the 21st because
No.
Megan can't go.
No, it was totally the brewery's availability that fucked you.
What are they doing that's so important on the 28th?
Don't
Yeah.
know.
Okay.
I
Maybe
didn't ask.
you should ask.
How much business have we brought you over
Yeah.
the last year? Just get really full of myself.
Yeah.
Fuller.
So the only thing I'm worried about is pandEpic does take up quite a bit of space in that back room.
Yeah, you're not gonna
Will
be
we
able
have
to-
enough space for enough tables for everyone to actually be playing there? Like, because we're going to have like, what, 70, 80 people?
Oh, we might have more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how
We
you're going to do
officially crossed the 1,000-person mark in the
Well,
Facebook group.
Hashtag, how many active members are there in that group?
Even if a tenth of them show up, it'll be, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 7%.
We had over 100 at the last one.
Yeah.
Was it over 100? I thought it was like 70 something.
Well, that was at any time.
any given time.
You at any time, but unique attendees
Yes.
was
Yes.
100 plus. Okay.
Yeah. So also at Rack House, I played the expansion for Legendary Encounters Alien.
Yeah.
We got wrecked.
Shocker.
The one that we played added flying aliens, which
Okay.
basically, you know how you have the complex, you have the 5 row or the 5 spaces that they normally are at. If something gets revealed as flying, you actually move it on top of them, and then every time you move, anything up top moves as well as the complex too. So you could have up to 2 monsters coming up at one time, and some of them are pretty nasty.
Fuck
have-
that.
There was also the brute who took up 2 spaces in the complex. 'Cause-
Sideways.
Yeah, you flip it over. Oh, it's the brute, and you just turn it sideways. Everything gets pushed forward, and it's just like, oh, that sucks.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
I should play Alien sometime.
You should. It's good.
I heard it's pretty good. I like deck builders, so.
Yeah, you would like it then.
It's one of my more favorite deck builders out there.
Yeah, thematically, actually feels a little bit more cohesive than some of the other ones.
Cool.
Is that everything we played?
Santorini
Oh, yeah.
played. I feel like I've probably played a dozen games
real
of
quick.
it now. Yeah, it's real
Snappy.
quick. It's great. I don't know. I think I like it more in Patchwork, mainly because of the god powers. So every time you
Well,
play,
it also plays a lot faster.
It plays a lot
yes.
faster.
Well, even still, it's the fact that each turn, because all the different god powers, every time you play is different. And because I played Artemis, who moves really fast, with Atlas, who can just cap at any level, and I was playing Atlas, and I was just trying to capture Artemis. Like I was like, I want to just get him in a thing so I could lock him down. I couldn't do it, but it was fun. Versus like Poseidon and Ares, where you're building a crap ton of Ares, just destroying things.
There's a lot of cards.
There's a lot of cards.
Which
It's and I haven't even played with the Golden Fleece ones yet.
Oh, wow.
The Golden Fleece really interests me. Like because when you do the Golden Fleece variant, you have the Golden Fleece somewhere on the board, and only one power is available, and whoever is adjacent to the Golden Fleece can use the power.
Huh.
Yeah. Yes. And I didn't even mean even that specifically. I just meant we haven't used any of the Golden Fleece gods either.
Okay.
Yeah, which are like the super advanced ones. Like one of which is your players aren't even on the board. You have this little sideboard.
I want to play that
Oh,
one
yeah.
real
And it's
bad.
like if you try and do something that you can't do because my worker's there, you lose.
Oh,
So-
Jesus.
You don't lose. You lose your turn.
Yeah, you
turn's
lose your
over.
turn. You lose
like
your
I'm
turn.
just like, nope, you can't do that. Your turn's over.
Yeah. No,
But
sorry.
then-
I was thinking of there's another character where you just make a spot on the board, and if anybody's workers go on there, they lose.
Oh, I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah.
I was looking through the rules. I didn't see that one.
It's one of the Golden Fleece gods.
Ah.
Pretty rough.
That one seems kind of like the what's the basic god where if you jump off of a 2 level to the ground.
So
Pan.
that one is like,
Those just seem cheap.
well, that you have to plan around it, and it's definitely, you don't give it to someone who's never played before, but it would be easier. So yeah. Anyway, it's I also played a 3-player version of
Oh,
it.
you did? Okay.
And that was interesting. It gets pretty crazy. I ended up losing super early in one because I got forced into the position where I had to move up into a place where I could not build. So I lost.
Sure did.
Yeah. We played 5 times. Only one of the times was there an actual like kingmaker situation of like one of us was like, well, it's I either let you win or I let you win because you're both about to win. But all the other times it was everyone was trying to stop one person from winning.
Yeah.
Who ended up winning. But yeah, it was
Unsuccessfully.
it definitely felt a lot different, and I definitely enjoyed it. So
Awesome. Yeah, aside from the couple times I played with you back before Christmas, I played once with Megan in Seattle, and she liked it. It went pretty well overall. I won, but we didn't realize till after the game the rule about like to win you have to move up onto the third yourself. You can't be pushed up.
Yeah.
And moving from like 1-3 to another 3 on your turn doesn't count. You have to go from 2 to 3 on your turn. And so if we'd been playing with that, she could have probably, it would have changed the game. There was a point a few turns before I won where she could have pushed me up to a third. Instead, she ended up moving and blocking it.
yeah.
And then there are probably a couple other times where she could have done something different that may have affected
Right.
the overall game. But I do really like that game. I'm real happy I backed it. Like, I started to be a little bit reticent, like right around the time it was shipping, like when people were starting to get their early copies, and I was like, I don't know. I kept, some of the people I kept seeing play it, and like the way they were talking about it made it seem like it was too light for me.
Right.
And then after playing it, it's not, like, not at all.
No, it's one of those abstract games where it's easy to learn, but like when you have like 2 people who are good at it, it can get pretty deep.
Yeah. So I played that with Megan. We played one game of Imperial Settlers, which is still definitely one of my favorite. It was one of my new to me top games from last week's episode. We played that, and then we played 2 games of Druids because Megan really liked Druids. She said she liked it a little bit more than Santorini, actually. First game, I was pretty well on my way to winning. She was down to her last piece, and I had all 3 of mine. And then she saw a really sneaky opening to get one of her guys right down by my base, and like she did the move. Like she's like, "Oh, I can do this," and she goes and like does the move. And I sit there and look at the board, and I'm like, well, "Shit, I can't. Shit,
No.
shit." Just shit.
Yep.
She's like, she just slowly gets this big ear to ear grin, like, yeah, you can't do anything about that. I win. And then we played again a little bit later on, and I beat her in that one, but it was a very close match. She is really good at board games in general, but apparently she's also really good at 2-player abstract games. The girl is a challenge. So that was all I actually got to play while I was in Seattle. I wanted to go check out some of their board game cafes and stuff, and I didn't get a chance to.
Because of Westworld.
Because of Westworld. I had 2 free days, Wednesday and Thursday, while she was at work, and instead of going out and exploring Seattle, I sat in her apartment and binge-watched Westworld. But yeah, that's it for me for gaming and other life things. I don't remember what else. Oh, I played Seven Wonders Duel at the game night before I went to Seattle. I lost by 1 point. It was a very close game. I really enjoyed it.
I should probably play my copy of that game sometime.
You should.
You should.
As it's been played at least 6 times.
I need to pick up a copy. Other than that, yeah, I haven't played anything else, I don't think.
I've been helping our friend Wesley with his game.
I want to play that.
It's he in our second playthrough, he has realized that there's more work in there than he was There's a lot more things he needs to fix. So
Okay.
yeah,
That'll happen.
it's still there's the core of it. It's still a good game. You can tell, but it's still like the mechanics of it. You're like, you need to balance these sort of things first before you start doing anything else.
Yeah.
So
Sounds about right.
Core elements.
yes, pretty much.
Indeed.
We'll see.
But there was one other game played, the most important game of them all, my game of Blood Bowl.
Oh, bloody minute.
So I played Ant's Goblin team. Was draw game. Still haven't lost a game in like 4 games. It was 1-1. Ant got a score at the end of the first half, after things were going real rough for me, on a throw teammate. So goblins can be thrown by big guys. Some of the big guys will also try to eat them as they try and throw them. Thankfully, he had a star player that does not eat, Ripper. And he needed a bullshit amount of dice throws to be able to actually pull this off. And had I really remembered that he could throw teammate, I probably would have done more. But I totally forgot he can throw teammate because he's a one-turn score team. Ant had calculated real quick as we played, and he came up with a 0.07% chance of success on that play with how many dice he had to throw. It was horseshit. Things swung around in the second half. I started smashing goblins to where he wasn't able to field much besides his big guys. And then a couple goblins, I got in there on a touchdown at the very end, tying up the draw game. I'm currently league second at 5 games.
Nice.
There's one team ahead of me. Ant hasn't confirmed the last game, but he'll probably jump up. Ant threw out a bunch of numbers about if the guy in first loses once and I win everything, I can get first.
Ooh, there you go.
Or if I draw, if I draw, then he needs to lose twice and then a draw.
Just plan on winning everything, and then you'll be fine.
I'll totally win everything, especially when I'm about to play David's Chaos team, who has a team member, Chaos Warrior, with 2 stat increases in movement and agility, and whose now cost is more than my big guy, which sucks. Yeah, Ant's, I think, third with 4 games or something like that. But no, he's in first with. He has 2 teams.
Of course he does.
He's in first right now with 1 team, and we'll see.
So when he said the guy in first needs to lose while you win out, he means he needs to lose.
So the one guy that is playing is going to win some games, and points-wise, he's doing very well.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we'll see. That's Blood Bowl.
Okay.
I smashed those goblins real good at the end there. Yeah. For that draw.
Hey, sometimes you smash your way to a tie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened. Oh, and my ogre got hurt because he's a fucking idiot.
Did he hurt himself?
No, he got hurt by his star player and went out, and I used my apothecary roll. It was like turn 1, and you can only use 1 apothecary reroll, which rerolls the injury, and came back in. Thankfully, I didn't get any more other injuries that would have been like, oh, he's dead. Oh, that's bad, because I can't do anything about it.
Gotcha.
And I needed him for the rest of that game. And that was a bold move. Paid off, Cotton.
Well, there we go.
Yep.
Right on. So that covers kind of what we've been playing / up to in the last, I don't know, week and a half-ish since our last recording. Been a little while.
Yeah.
We got off schedule there during the holidays a bit.
They can't tell that.
Yeah, they can't tell.
Yeah, not from release dates because I'm awesome at editing and releasing.
The official total on dice that Ant had to roll was 12 dice successfully in a row.
Gotcha.
That's pretty hard to do.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So, news and Kickstarter. We'll start with Kickstarter because there's really not a whole lot, but there is a decent amount of news to start the new year.
There was like nothing last time, and now we've got shitloads of news. Kickstarter, nothing big on Kickstarter, but Kingdom Death Monsters ending in 4 days. It is currently at $8.8 million, the most kickstarted thing ever.
Highest game for sure.
Highest game for sure. I think there's a cooler that was around $8 million.
A cooler?
I had like a margarita blender and like Bluetooth speakers and shit. And
What?
Yeah.
Dude, people want coolers, man.
I guess. Jesus.
Hard to find a good cooler.
Did it fulfill? That's the real question.
Issues. Let's just say issues.
Not
I saw
surprised.
that. I remember when it was actually going on, and I saw how much it was and what the initial was like maybe 100,000. And it was at 8 million, and I was just like, that's not going to end well.
Jesus.
So yeah, Kingdom Death making all the money.
Yep.
Continuing to make all the money. They've been doing it for a little while.
Yeah. It's probably going to hit a lot in those last couple days. That's it for Kickstarter. On to news.
On to news, because there is a lot of it.
The first entrant into the Beating an Undead Shoggoth Award 2017 category, Lovecraft Letter.
Yep.
Which that name just tells me it's. I don't. That even if I would have been interested, which I wouldn't, because I don't particularly care for Lovecraft, and I especially don't care for random pasted on Lovecraft. But Lovecraft Letter alone, that name makes me want to run away from that game so fast.
We'll see. We'll see how interesting the 7, 8, and 9 cards are, because that's the only thing that's different in those games.
Well, and then there's something about obviously it's Lovecraft, so you can be insane for certain things. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm insane, and my guard now has other abilities because
Something
I'm
like
crazy or something. I don't know. I'm making that up entirely. I have no idea.
just got to get that love letter to Cthulhu.
Yes.
Here you go, buddy.
Details have come out about the new Agricola expansions.
Yeah, the mini expansions.
There are 4 expansions with pre-painted minis.
So when I first saw them, like mini expansions, just small little expansions.
No.
Because obviously Agricola is not going to have minis. But no, they're expansions that have
Miniatures.
minis. Yeah.
Which you see, and I knew that.
I did.
I thought I had made that clear,
No.
but apparently not. Yeah. And so the 4 of them are for the 4-player
No, it
colors.
makes sense, yeah.
So if you want
And then
to have
each has 20 different cards in it.
okay.
I think.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you like playing, say, Agricola at 4 players, and you want all 4 players to have minis, you're gonna have to buy all 4 of these expansions.
And that will be $100.
Mm-hmm.
But there's pictures of the pre-painted jobs on there. It's
Yeah,
actually a
good.
really good pre-paint job.
Yeah, they look good.
And it's like 80 cards is like one of those decks in that game, right?
yeah,
K-deck, C-deck,
$100
whatever.
is still a lot to spend on some minis and 100 cards.
Depends on how much you
Painted
love
minis.
Agricola. I mean, people paid $400 or $500 for that War of the Rings collector's edition that goes for like $2,000 plus.
Yeah, people pay a lot of money for things they're interested in.
Those
Yep.
miniatures aren't that detailed either.
Yeah.
The Agricola ones look good though.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah. A new version of RoboRally
Last year.
edition,
Yeah,
2016.
Yeah, so
End of
I'm not
last year.
completely missed out on that.
I did too. Well, I know I saw it and I was like, "Is this the same one?" And then Zach was like, "Yeah, that's the same one," and it was totally the new one.
I didn't know until just recently. So
We found some threads about details and stuff like that,
Yep.
and it turns it more into a deck builder kind of thing. You have your own personal deck of 20 cards. There's no numbered order or anything on them anymore. There's now transmitters on the board that will activate your guys closer to the transmitter before other people's, so it actually changes the game quite a bit.
yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in trying that.
Yeah, I like programming games, and that sounds like a interesting twist on RoboRally, because usually RoboRally's interesting twist is someone pushed you onto a conveyor belt and you're totally fucked.
Which I'm hoping is still an interesting twist that can happen.
I mean, I'm sure it can.
Yes, but having your own personal decks is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Are they identical decks or are
I
they
think you can
unique
build
decks?
and can customize them. There's like a variety of cards you can put in there.
Because I think it'd be kind of cool if just like from the start, like you could pick like the more tanky bot and you have a tanky based deck or
Yeah.
the attack one. I don't know how it actually is, but that would interest me.
And the miniatures are different. They look very similar to the previous edition, though.
Cool.
Dominion Big Box, a new Dominion 2nd Edition Big Box with a disappointing disadvantage
Yes.
of not having room for any more expansions. So it is a big box for just those first 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Second edition
it's
releases.
for the base game and then Intrigue, which is now just an expansion. It's not a standalone one.
Yep.
So it's just those 2 apparently.
So don't throw away your cool, old, sweet big boxes, because this ain't going to replace it.
Nope.
Disappointing.
I'm curious, like, how
just-
many people who have, say, all of the first edition Dominion stuff, like, are they going in on the 2nd edition?
I hope
are they just
not.
going whole hog?
Are they just going to start reprinting all of the first edition stuff with the 2nd edition tag and just making the game all over again?
I don't
We'll
know.
see.
I don't know what they're planning to do with it.
Arctic Scavengers is a better game.
Yes, it is.
Wouldn't know.
A spiritual sequel to Fuse.
Yes.
Fuse Flatline. It will be a dice rolling agility game, dexterity game. I don't know what you call Fuse.
So Fuse right now is just a real-time dice drafting game.
Okay.
And so that one
feels more stressful than that.
No, it is. It is. The real time tends to make that.
Yeah.
But that one is about defusing bombs. This one is about like triage, and you're trying to save patients and something. It adds. I'm assuming it's not just more. Oh, we need this red die, and we're going to put it on this red space. That's their heart or whatever.
From what I was reading, it's like each patient you have 60 seconds.
Right.
And then you have 60 seconds for each patient, just like you would have 10 minutes for bombs, but now you have a tighter window to try and draft into triage.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Huh.
That looks interesting.
Yeah, Renegade Games have been doing pretty well, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested.
Until they get bought out by Asmodee.
Probably.
Just like they bought out 3 more companies at the beginning of this year. A German company, a French company, and a Spanish company.
Yeah, so they picked up German publisher and distributor Heidelberger Spielverlag. I don't know how to pronounce the last one. Heidelberger.
Fantasy Flight's German distribution company.
Yep.
Yes. A Spanish-French company, Edge Entertainment, and Spanish distributor Millennium. And so essentially, they're just fleshing out the rest of their acquisition of FFG, essentially.
Yep.
These are people who worked closely with FFG when they were their own thing, and then continued to work with Asmodee and FFG after Asmodee acquired FFG.
Now
And
they have to.
Yeah, it's all about that vertical integration.
yeah. So I'm curious, how this is going to play out long term.
I don't think these three things will affect us at all.
No, they certainly won't affect us. They might affect our friends across the pond.
Stores, retailers.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they care.
So Asmodee in 2015 saw a 55% growth. They haven't released numbers for 2016 yet, mostly because I don't think the fiscal year's done yet.
End of
probably
January,
not. Yeah.
February. Depends on when their fiscal year starts.
Yeah.
March.
I'd be curious to see what their growth is. The industry as a whole is obviously growing pretty rapidly right now.
I know some numbers for Target.
Yeah?
They're big
Can you share those numbers for Target?
from last year. I mean, it's public for last year. It was like 25-30%, something like that.
For the board games?
Just for board games.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a Codenames Target exclusive and a Machi Koro Target exclusive.
It's become the big store that has more hobby games than like Walmart or.
People like to buy Cards Against Humanity from us.
Shocking.
Yeah, you said you went through a whole lot this holiday season.
Hundreds and hundreds.
Well,
And that was just at your store.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. So Asmodee, they 2 years into 2017, they wanted to make it clear they're going to keep buying stuff,
yep.
not slowing
Indeed.
down.
And the second to last piece of news, there's the Dice Tower IndiGoGo going on right now.
Yep.
If you want to pay $70 for some promos, like I almost want to,
There are cheaper ones too, but they have specifically said that it's not about you're not doing these to buy promos. It's more of you're doing this to help support us, and then we'll give you promos.
but I don't care about Dice
No,
Tower.
I know, I understand. That's fine.
Which is why I'm not
promos.
and which
supporting.
and they say specifically if you don't want to back, don't back. No one should be forced to back. But they are already more than halfway towards their goal of 200,000. And so if you do like them, like I like them, then you might want to support if you do.
Yeah. And the last piece of news, my Terraforming Mars game trays have yet to ship since my pre-order went in mid-November. He's going to get an email tomorrow.
All right. Yeah.
Eagle Griffin might get an email from me tomorrow just to make sure that they received my payment and are going to send me early my Gallerist and Venhos.
Oh, you got the Gallerist too, huh?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I spent a lot of money on that.
Yeah.
I really want to get it. And then Lisboa is supposed to be sometime in the fall.
I mean, all vendors are good with me. I don't need to email.
I should
about
probably
anything.
I should hassle Cool Mini about my
You
Dogs
should.
of War because they were like, we're going to check with shipping, and that was like 3 months ago.
Yep.
Yeah. Be like, all right, I gave you through the holidays.
Yeah,
I understand you're busy during
How'd
the
that shipping
holidays.
check
but-
go?
Yeah. It's like, do you have a tracking number for that thing that you sent out to me? Because I never got it, and I never got a tracking number. So
Yep.
Local news-ish for us officially have set the date. Put it on Twitter today as well.
very local, within like 5 feet of these microphones.
Yes.
News to
Oh,
us.
nonsense.
And really,
it's within the city.
I'm really more you than me and possibly Jeff.
Yep.
But anyway, the date and venue are officially set for the 4-year anniversary for our game group. Since our last recording, we crossed 1,000 members in our Game Night Facebook group, and we're celebrating our 4-year anniversary in January. It's going to be January 21st at Barrel Beer Company. Unfortunately, Zach will not be able to attend. He's, got, I don't know, some family member having a birthday or something.
I might have to just work.
Even more pitiful excuse.
Yeah.
I'll be there though, so that's what matters.
Everything will be falling apart because of it.
We already have 8 games for our raffle, 6 of which come from Zach.
Yep.
I only want one
So
of them.
thank you, Zach, for your substantial donation to the raffle.
That I won't be able to take a part of.
5 of them have been donated by you. 1 by me and 2 by our friends Greg and his brother Kyle.
Oh, which one?
Oh, yeah.
Which ones did they do?
One Night Revolution and Codenames.
Okay.
So
How many copies of Code Names are going to be in that?
I don't know. Depends on how cheap it stays. When I start actually taking in money for the raffle and turning around and buying games with it.
Don't just be like 5 copies because I feel like you're going to hit a saturation point at some time.
No,
It's like no one wants it because everyone has it.
Yeah.
No, unless it's something where I end up with like an extra $20 at the end, and I'm like, what can I buy for $20? And Codenames is 18 or something. I don't know what it is going for right now. I know it's been as low as 18 in the past, but we'll see. But I should have the raffle tickets Wednesday for those of you who are local and listen. If you want to come to the Wednesday game night at D-Bolt, I'll have raffle tickets for sale there. I'll be selling for the next 3 weeks leading up to the big party. It'll be a good time.
Drink
Woo.
for 13 hours again.
Yep.
Noon to question mark.
Well, I'll be there probably, because we're planning on starting at noon, so I'll be there at 11. And then last time we were at Barrels till 2, so 11 a.m. to 2 a.m.
My bill wasn't too bad.
I don't remember what mine was.
Yeah.
I just signed the credit card sheet.
Here's numbers.
And then caught a cab home because I was in no state to drive after 13 hours of drinking and
Yep.
gaming.
That'll happen.
All right, so that's news and Kickstarter.
That's it.
We're moving on. Train is staying on the tracks. Moving on, today we're going to be reviewing Mystic Vale. It's the 2016 release from designer John Clare, published by Aldrak Entertainment Group, also known as AEG. It plays 2 to 4 players and takes 45 to 60 minutes. Zach, you got a rules breakdown for us?
Yeah. In this game, you're a part of a druidic clan tasked at cleansing a curse that has befallen the land around you. So you and the other players are going to be using the card crafting system to make upgrades to each of the cards in your personal deck and buy special Veil cards while vying for victory points. And you can try and push your luck for a better hand, but watch out because you might spoil and have to forfeit the rest of your turn. When the game ends, whoever has the most victory points wins.
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this game introduces a new mechanic to the deck building genre, and that's card crafting. Mm-hmm. I don't know if AEG has like any particular.
They call it the card crafting system. I don't know if it's like
They've got
trademark or anything like that.
nice little symbol for it that's right there on the box. But it's kind of a cool concept, I think, especially like to kind of innovate in deck building. So all of the players start with a base deck of 20 cards. Mm-hmm. And in those 20 cards, they're all sleeved and they're divided into 3 sections, a top, a middle, and a bottom. And as you go along, instead of buying new cards to go into your deck, you buy modifications that you slide into those sleeves and modify the cards that you have in your hand. So you can nullify the bad things with positive cards, and then some of the cards that you start with are blanks, and then you could just build those up into being, whatever kind of card fits the strategy you want to go for, whether you want to collect a lot of points or buy a lot of Veil cards or, get to where you can just draw huge hands and do a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. First off, I just want to go ahead and say theme does not mean anything in this game.
No.
I almost didn't even want to include it in there because I had to look it up when I was playing. I was like, "What? Why am I doing this again?" It's
there's some nice art,
yeah,
I do like the artwork.
and that's it.
yeah, yeah, pretty much.
So we'll, I guess, just kind of dive right in here. So components. Overall, I think the cards are really nice.
Comes with a lot of sleeves.
It comes with enough sleeves. They give you 20 extra, enough for every card in the game, and then 20 extra sleeves because they figure putting things in and out of sleeves on a regular basis and shuffling decks, sleeves are going to get messed up.
Which you've already had a couple.
I think
just the one.
I think yours was the first one.
Right.
So in almost a dozen plays that I've gotten out of that copy, only had one sleeve mess up. Unless ones have messed up in games I wasn't playing, like at a game night, and somebody already swapped them out. But the inserts that you slide in are kind of a plastic, a see-through plastic material with the other thing printed on. If you've played Gloom, it's a similar kind of material.
Yeah.
And similar concept, like that way you can stack 3 cards on top of each other and still see through them all.
I just wish the picture was brighter on those cards, especially like when they're all out, because they're like they're all out in the buying section, because you're like, I can't really tell which one that one is, and you have to actually pick it up. And then it seems like once
We're also playing on a black table.
Well, also yes. But I've noticed that like once the like each of them came with like a little plastic saran wrap sort of thing on it.
Film.
Film to help protect it. And then it seems like they start to dull a little bit once that film is off.
Yeah, they say in the instructions when you're putting everything together, it says, they've got this film on it, but don't worry about going through and peeling it off of all of them. Just as it starts to peel off on its own, take it off. And when you first peel it off, it's like awesome. Like the card looks really fresh and see-through, but they scuff real quick and get a little opaque. Mm-hmm. So that's unfortunate. I think
just need a nice silk playboard.
Everyone has to wear silk gloves while playing. And only pile shuffling.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's probably my main complaint is that those plastic cards do show a little bit of wear pretty early on.
But wear doesn't really affect the game.
No. If it continues though at the rate it is, that I could see at some point it would get real hard to see, like once you have 3 cards in a deck, see through the top 2 to that third one and see what's actually on it.
Yeah.
If they get scuffed enough, but
unfortunately I couldn't really think of another solution right now, at least, because you need those cards to be transparent in order to see them. Maybe the type of plastic they used or something like that, but even that, it's just one of the
it is what it is. It works really well though for what it is. The actual cards themselves, the Veil cards are regular. They're long cards, but they're regular cardstock material. Those are nice. I haven't had any issues with those. Your starting deck are all cardboard cards that go into the sleeves. Those are all fine.
Yeah.
The insert is pretty solid. It's got a ton of room for future expansions.
Way too much room.
Well, so we'll see, what they end up doing expansion wise.
I know they've already they've talked about a second one coming out this year at some point.
Yeah,
so.
They've released their first one. Second one will be coming out, but we'll see where they go from there.
Yeah.
Rules explanation. I don't really have a tough time teaching this game overall.
It was super quick.
You just have to impress on the people how often you shouldn't
push your
luck because
especially early.
Yeah, especially early. And I've seen some novice people doing it, and because there isn't really an interaction in the game as much, it's when you fall behind, it's hard for you to catch back up.
There's no catch-up mechanic.
Yeah.
And pressing early, there's so little advantage to it.
Yeah, you get 1, maybe 2 more buy points, but it's not likely to make much of a difference.
No.
Yeah. So I like that, everybody gets a player aid card, and that really tells you everything you need to know.
Explains all the symbols.
Yeah. So, obviously some cards have some text on them, but it's usually easy to deduce what it's supposed to do. And I would say the only time is like when played. Some people can confuse the on-deck card as being on-played or not. Or if you discard a card from your on-deck, you still have to draw back up. Mm-hmm. And some people are like, I can just get rid of a card and I don't have to draw back. So it can, if you're not paying attention, someone can make a huge mistake if they interpret one of those couple things wrong.
Yeah.
So it's something to keep in mind.
It's just those are good things. Yeah, when you're teaching somebody, those are some good things to keep in mind to kind of stress as you're explaining. Don't push your luck too often, too early, and then just be aware of what your cards actually do and the order in which things happen.
Yeah.
But otherwise, the rule book itself is pretty well laid out. I think it teaches the game pretty well. I've never had any issues teaching new players.
Yeah.
The biggest time I've had an issue is like with somebody who'd never played any kind of a deck builder, because then you kind of have to explain that entire concept of like
This goes into your discard, and then you can't use it until you reshuffle, and
you're trying to optimize your cards so that each hand is useful. But all right, so gameplay
plays well. It's a deck builder, but more. You're not only you're building your deck, but you're building your cards.
So there's 20 cards you start with.
Yep.
9 of them are the cursed land.
Yeah.
What's the name of the symbol?
The decay
spoil symbol, decay symbol. Yeah.
Because more than just cursed land has the decay symbol.
Yes,
on it.
you can add more to that. But one thing that's nice is that you can always look at your discard pile at any time. So when trying to push your luck, you can be like, okay, I have 3 cursed land here, and I have 4 in my discard pile, and I have 5 cards left. So that means 2 out of those 5 is a cursed land, assuming that you haven't added anything else. And you're like, 40% chance. Is it worth it? Do I really need that 1 point more?
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely like that push your luck aspect of that, and the fact that you're calculating it, so it's not like, oh, it's just randomly. If it's if it's like a 1 in 10 chance and you get hit, you're like, oh, that sucks. But usually it's like it's a 50 to 60% chance you're going to flip one of those over. So
Yeah, and losing your turn for that sucks. I didn't spoil once.
I did. Yeah. I did
spoiled
once, but that's because I knew I was going to spoil, but I also couldn't buy anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, I would rather just get that token.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do like also is that if you do spoil, you get basically an extra power crystal for buying things.
Yeah, because you have like it's basically mana.
Yeah.
And everything has a mana cost. And, there's a lot of blank cards. Do you remember how many blank cards are in there?
8.
8.
Because it's
a lot.
Because it's 3 fertile and then 9 other. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then you want to fill those blank cards out because they don't do anything for you until you buy. Until you craft.
They just
some
junk up
cards.
your hand.
Yeah.
I definitely went with a strategy of fill those blank cards with anything first.
How'd that work out for you?
I got second.
There you go.
Yeah.
By like a lot.
By like a lot in front of everyone else.
Yeah.
Which it was a lot, like relative to the 2 players who came in
You and
3rd
me.
and 4th.
You won?
I won.
Oh, Paul. It was me and Paul.
Yeah.
But even my winning score was of the plays I've had of this. It was a relatively low score. It was weird.
Like I've won with 60 before, and you had like what, 30?
I think 39.
Yeah, and I had like 8. No, I had 11 because I had 3 points. And I was legitimately frustrated. I didn't
game end conditions. They have a victory point pool like Race for the Galaxy.
Yes.
Where once all the victory points are gone, it's got the Splendor.
Yep, you
mechanic.
finish that round so that everybody has played an equal number of hands.
And it seemed like we ended real quick.
I mean, it didn't feel that much quicker. That's the thing.
Okay.
It's just
Points were low.
Yeah.
The ending happened fast though. Like there was like the big pool and nobody was taking points, and then like 2 turns around the table
boom,
later,
boom. Yeah.
it was over.
Yeah.
Because I was getting like my whole victory point pieces out. And we haven't even mentioned the Veil cards. So there's like the mana cost to buy things, there's victory points, there's decay, and then there's
Symbols.
weird little symbol things.
It's supposed to be like magic symbols or something like that.
Yeah, there's like one that's like a bear paw. There's one that's like a green little leaf. There's a wild symbol, and there's one more, maybe like a
the yellow
water.
star.
Oh, the yellow star.
The inconsistent wild symbol.
Yeah.
But those are like permanent upgrades to your tableau that can give you just like a free mana or victory points or a whole bunch of different stuff. And we didn't even touch those.
Yeah, only 6 of them got bought in the entire time.
And
So
that's big deck.
yeah. And I've seen it where like I had 6
Yeah.
and then like people had like 4 and 5 each.
Yeah.
So
What was the other end game besides the victory points?
That's just
That's
it.
it. That's it.
The victory punch run out. One of the things I do really like about this game is, like we said, like early on, you don't really want to push your luck because there's very little benefit. And, your cards, almost half the deck is going to be spoil tokens. Almost half your deck is going to be blanks. So you're going to be like getting 4 or 5 mana to buy with early is awesome.
yeah.
But then towards the end of the game, if you've done a good job building your deck, it's not uncommon to flip, 10, 11, 12 cards and just have this huge, big, long line of cards in front of you. And you're like, all right, well, I've got 20 mana I can buy 2 cards with. And then I've got all these other symbols that I can kind of decide how I want to use them to buy Veil cards with. And then I'm going to get a big handful of victory points. And so I feel like at the end of the game, this is one of those games where I feel especially when I'm doing well, like it's evident. Like I feel like I'm getting to do so much more with my turns at the end of the game than I was at the beginning of the game, which is a pretty cool feeling that I really like in games.
There's a lot of ways to mitigate those decay, like discarding them out of your deck, drawing it, discarding it from the cards that you buy. And I really like that a lot because there's no culling in this deck builder at all. And that's kind of the best way you can cull. I liked that mechanic a lot.
I want to say I've had one game that I played where I did a really good job of that, and I only ended up having like 2 cards that actually had usable spoils, which means that I couldn't actually
Spoil.
fail.
Yeah.
So just every turn I'd
dump
play
your
almost
deck
my
whole
entire
deck.
deck.
Yeah.
I don't think it was quite 2 because I don't think I was playing my whole deck. I think it was like 4, maybe 5, but all the rest of my cards were stacked. So I was always doing a ton every turn.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's one of the downfalls too, in my opinion at least, is that if for whatever reason you just can't get in the right rhythm to be able to buy those cards, either they literally because a lot of those times, like the bear one that has just the growth, which is the anti-decay one, whenever that comes up, you're lucky if that lasts like 2 people.
Yeah.
And so there is some time, like I only saw one of those and 1 discard. Like that was all that I was able to reasonably afford at any time. And so there really wasn't that much that I could do about it.
Yeah, I went like for canceling decays.
Yeah.
And not so much the growth.
Well, no, yeah, I didn't even. I didn't really have a good chance to get any of those. I said, I had one. Oh, you can search and discard, but one of the 2 times I was able to use it. One, I was at the end of my deck, so it didn't even matter.
Useful.
Yeah. And the other one worked, but I wasn't able to get in a good position, and so because like I said, there's no catch up mechanic, and there's no way for me to stop you from dealing 18 cards out.
Yeah. You're slave to the card draw.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get that good card draw, or you just like, all right, I have 3 decays. I don't want to press my luck, and I have 0.
Yep.
Yeah, which brings me, like if I'm going to talk about like flaws with this game, definitely it's got a runaway leader problem.
Yes, definitely.
Like if somebody has a couple, especially early on, if early on you can get lucky, and like you said, Zach, like sometimes a card will flip that cancels a spoil, and if it happens right before, like if the player right before me buys a card and the next one flips as a spoil cancel thing that I can buy, if that happens 2 or 3 times in a row, then I get to where I can just play most of my deck real quick and early, and I'm getting a lot more points, and I'm buying the higher tier cards, and I'm able to make my pick of everything, whereas somebody else who didn't get so lucky, they might still be in that early phase where they're getting 3, 4, maybe 5 mana a turn to buy with. And like I said, there's no direct way to slow down your opponent. So like if one opponent starts running away with it,
you can just watch them run away with it.
Yeah, everybody's just basically like, all right, well, let's just hope that they run away with it fast.
Yeah, because like you said, you had 33, 34, 35, somewhere around that.
In there.
And then Adrian had 39. Paul had 14, and I had 11.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, and there was, wasn't much we could do about it.
Yeah.
And I've been in that other situation too. Like I said, I had 60 points, and I think the other 3 people I was playing with, I barely beat my score with their scores combined.
Yep.
And so that is, obviously that is a problem with non-interactive games like this. One thing I always thought about trying on it was to have the draw deck face up, so you knew the next card that was coming out, so that you could be like I want to buy this, but I may not buy this one because it's going to bring a growth one out that's going to help you.
Could be interesting.
So
one of my favorite things is the way you deal out your next hand at the end of your turn, so you're ready to go beginning of your next turn. You kind of know your position before your turn starts. I like that a lot. It definitely speeds up the game.
It definitely speeds up the game, but I think that also magnifies the single playerness of it.
Yeah,
is because like there are a lot of times you're just like, oh, okay, I'm focusing on my stuff. Okay, I've now prepped. Oh, it's my turn. I'll do my stuff. Oh, I'm doing it again. Like there'll be times it's like, oh, well, what did you buy? Like I don't even remember what you guys all bought.
Yeah,
and it's
like what's out there again, because it's been 3 people's turns.
Yeah.
Well, and especially late game when you're playing half your deck out, and then you'll play it all
planning.
out.
It's like,
and then
you're
like, all right, well, I've got all these points. Yeah, exactly.
I can discard this, and I can spoil once and discard it.
Yeah,
and
it's it's
It
quote
can-
unquote annoying when you're like you get one of your bad turns. You're like, oh, okay, I got like 4 cards. That's it. And then you see everyone else is just like, oh, I'm on my 14th card. Okay, this will cancel this, and you're just like, you fucking assholes.
Well, or like in the early to mid game, you'll have turns like that occasionally where you get really lucky with your draws and you draw everything, but then you're like, oh, this was my first draw of this deck, and I just got like 12 cards out here, which means that I'm not going to get any more than like 2 or 3 cards out the entire rest of the deck, like until I cycle my whole deck, and that kind of sucks.
It does.
But overall, this is a game that I'm pretty good at. I think that I've probably played this, I don't know, almost a dozen times now, and I think I've only lost like 2 or 3 times. Like, I'm pretty solidly good at this game, which puts me in an odd spot. Like, my ego would like me to be like, oh, it's because you actually can be strategic about this game and I'm good at this game. But the couple times that I haven't won, I know that I haven't played poorly relative to other times. Like, I just got unlucky. And so then I'm like, well, did I get unlucky the times I lost, or did I just get lucky the times I won? I can't decide how much luck really how much of an influence luck has overall.
How many of those times were with new people too?
I mean, almost all of them have had at least one new player, but only 2 or 3 of them have had all new players. Like, most of the time I've had other people who've played before.
Okay, yeah. Because and I've definitely noticed, like, when you're like the one person that knows what to look for, and the other people don't. It's definitely a bit of an advantage for that.
Oh yeah, that's one of those things when I play with new players. I try to stress the things.
That's what we were doing with Jeff, and Jeff got second place.
Yeah.
So
I like deck builders a lot.
Yeah.
And I see the strategies in deck builders pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I think this game isn't grossly underrated, but underrated.
Well, so I mean,
but
I've got the BGG pulled up. It's a 7.4, which on BGG that's a good.
I mean,
500.
Overall, I think it should be higher.
Is it a 500 rank or something like that?
I think it's exactly 500.
Huh?
Is it ranked 500
overall?
Oh. Overall is 506. Okay. It's 300 in strategy.
Okay.
In that terms, I would agree with you that it is underranked. I do think the 7.4 is pretty good.
Yeah. Yes.
There are only 2,000 rankings on this game, though.
Yeah.
I'm the only person in our entire game group that owns it. It's
I
not nearly as widespread
now.
as I would think it should be.
Yeah.
I thought it played quick enough.
Yeah.
To where it wasn't an ordeal. Mm-hmm. The setup's not bad. The little dots over like the stage 1, 2, and 3 cards could be better.
Yeah, they definitely could do better with that, and the fact that the fertiles, because there's always fertile soils that you can always buy.
Yep, they're a cost too, so you will always be able to afford one as long as they're not sold out, which they won't be until late game.
But they have a little 1 dot.
They have 1 dot on there, which is stupid.
They should have no dots.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really, really like it, and I kind of want to buy it now. And the expansion details that I read, because we don't have the expansion, but
which has the stupidest name.
Yeah.
So this game is Mystic Veil, and I'm going to keep harping on it every time I can. But the expansion is just the Veil of Magic, which is just like fucking Mystic Veil, but like
Mystic Veil : Veil of Magic.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Yep. But it adds more cards. It adds
the Guardian.
It has more. It uses cards that use those Guardian symbols a bit more. And
because I didn't run into anything that made that useful.
I did. It was usually just get money or get victory points.
Yeah.
And then they added some that are like, when you buy it, this happens. So
which is more interesting.
Yes.
And I could see an expansion adding other stuff in there that could be interesting.
Yeah. I wish there'd be a way to figure out some sort of interactivity that you could have with it. I don't know in
maybe the
Mystic
next expansion.
Maybe, yeah. Let's hope so. I think for me, the theme or lack thereof, like that's one of the things keeping me from buying it.
The art's got the same art as like a Magic expansion.
Yeah.
It's sort of just like, here's some elves and big creatures and stuff.
So for me, I feel it's more like Dominion, where I'm like, it's a good idea, it's a good template. I'll play it. I don't feel like owning it, but a game that utilizes this while with having other mechanics in there also, that's when it's gonna. If they can somehow do this in Alien, I'll be great.
Fantastic card crafting Alien game. The chest burster always goes in the middle.
Yeah. The card is destroyed. Get rid of it. You have to rip it up Legacy
Alien
style.
Legacy, the card crafting game.
Oh God. All right. Final thoughts.
yeah, like I said, it's a fine enough game. I can't wait for the next game that uses this. I think
Card crafting could be real cool. I think this game should be out there more because it's real good.
Yeah. I definitely like this game. I'm real glad that Megan encouraged me to pick it up at Gen Con. I have not regretted it at all. It could be a little bit deeper / more balanced.
Yes.
I would like to see a future expansion add some kind of an option for player interaction, like we were talking about. And then overall, like I mentioned when I talked about this, is the card crafting was my top new mechanic in last week's episode. I really, like I said then, I reiterate it now, I can't wait to see what the next game does with this. You know, like I feel like this is the dominion of card crafting. Like it's introducing it, it does a fine job with it, but ultimately somebody's going to take it and just really, really run with it.
yeah.
I just wonder what the production costs on this game is. Like, how hard is it to make all these cards?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Because it's not just printing cards.
yeah.
It's printing, like, plastic sheets.
Yeah, I think also one last thing is that just getting more cards in there too is also going to help with it.
Yeah.
Because 1 or 2 plays, you're like, I've sort of seen all the cards, and like now it's just sort of like, oh, do I want to do this way or this way? But it's usually like, oh, I remember this card. So getting 1 to 2 expansions there just to increase the amount of cards that you can get is gonna be nice, and it can hopefully like just make
Bulk out the game.
Yeah, bulk out the game in general. Yeah.
So a new thing that I want to kind of start including in these is availability. You know, since we've been accused of talking about the new hotness, Terraforming Mars, that's unavailable, Terraforming Mars. So availability, this game is actually totally available right now.
It's got good sales, good prices.
Yep.
The expansion's available too.
Yep.
It is currently $25 on Amazon, which I think is
The Board Game Geek thing's wrong. It's like $34.
Yeah.
Did you just recently check?
Yes, it did.
Oh, $32.18.
Yep.
Damn, you're right. So yeah, so it is $25.32 plus $8.98 shipping from Sci-Fi City. So they do go by the lowest actual posted price.
Those tricky bastards.
Yeah, that's stupid. $32.18, which I still think that it's
solid
considering
price.
I'm pretty sure I spent like $50 on it at Gen Con.
That's what you get for convention prices.
And I don't regret it. But for $32, I would absolutely pick this game up for $32.
Ding and dent for life.
And Veil of Magic is going for $25. So
adds like 80 new cards or something crazy.
Yep. But yeah, so that's our review of Mystic Veil.
It's a good game. Everyone should have one.
Yeah.
Yep. Jeff and I both like it. Zach doesn't dislike it.
I like it. It
has some things that could be
it could
better.
have things that could be better. And
you might give it a 7.4
if you were,
out of 10.
yeah, I think I have it as a 7.
Yeah.
If you want interaction in your game, you should avoid this because this has none of that.
No, this is
But
true.
if you love deck building, Star Realms.
Yeah.
I haven't played Star Realms in a while.
No.
Or Hero Realms.
Yeah, Hero Realms real good too.
I still want to play Great Western. Epic Western.
Oh yeah, Tiny Epic Western.
Tiny Epic Western.
Yes.
That's the one.
No.
Okay.
No, it's a little Euro you want.
Yeah, we both have it.
Yeah.
But no, sorry, you were just like Great Western. I was like, I thought you were sick of it.
No, and actually, I still want to play Great Western Trail more because I need to figure out how the hell I feel about that game. I do not know how to feel about that game. But you can listen to our episode about Great Western Trail to hear more of our thoughts on that. So, moving on. So, for the discussion for this episode, we decided both Cool Stuff and BGG have done a bunch of stat dumps here at the end of the year.
Hot stats.
And so
Hot 2016 stats.
So to kind of follow on our 2016 review, we're going to talk a little bit about some of these stats. So like CSI, they released, what was it, Jeff?
Things that made the most money, and then things that sold the most. So units and dollar signs.
Yep. And BGG released, just a ton of stuff.
And they're all community powered, so of course those will be grain of salt. But with the amount of people that they have in there, it's pretty solidly a good.
You can glean something from it.
It's good. It's good baseline.
Yeah.
Let's start with cool stuff because it's smaller.
With cool stuff. All right, then there we go.
I wrote there's like a top 10 for each of these. I just wrote the top 5 or 6.
That's fine.
Units, numbers, code names. Number 1 with a bullet.
Yep.
That one compared to the Board Game Geek one we're about to hear, you can probably glean how many copies were sold. Star Wars Rebellions. Star Wars Rebellion.
Just the one rebellion.
One rebellion. Number 2 in the units, Pandemic Legacy, Time
yeah.
Stories, and Splendor at number 5.
I can believe all of those.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was gross or whatever for amount of money made.
Names. I have all those. So yes.
No, not I. Almost.
I don't.
I just want Rebellion, even though I
Yeah.
know too many people that own it.
I don't own Rebellion. I don't own Pandemic.
Made the most money.
You don't own Time Stories either.
I don't own Time Stories either.
That's true.
Yeah, because I buy that.
Yeah, we don't need more than one copy.
No, you don't.
Most money, Star Wars Rebellion.
Yep.
It's a relatively pricey game and was one of their top 5 bestsellers.
Yeah,
Not
the fact that it
surprised.
was like 5 times as much as Codenames.
Yeah. It was. But I mean, it was probably $100 when it was super popular.
No, it's still 75.
Oh,
from
right
Cool
when
Stuff.
it first came out?
Yeah, that's what I bought it for.
Sometimes when it reprints, they
Yeah.
kind of jack it up
Yeah.
to MSRP. But Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition,
Nice.
also another pricey game.
Yep.
Time Stories,
Nice. Yeah. Also $50 or something like that.
Pandemic Legacy.
I'm curious on that Time Stories one if that is just the base
Just
set of
base
Time
game.
Stories. That
Yeah.
it is. Okay.
Yes. I think Time Stories was more expensive than Pandemic Legacy, so that might be the reason for the
Yeah.
switch.
Through the Ages.
Okay.
That's probably the 2nd edition.
Yeah,
it didn't have
probab-
the edition on there. But
Probably because that shot to number 2
Yeah.
on Board Game. If you're like, oh, maybe I should check this out then.
I should probably play that. Other edition I have.
The crappy edition?
Yeah,
The-
apparently, yeah. Just
It's not a new story. It's an old story.
Yeah, throw that-
Boring old story.
throw that thing in the furnace.
Yeah.
And then Scythe.
Yeah. I understand
It was
that.
an expensive game
Yeah.
and sold out 24/7.
Yep.
Pretty much.
You can understand it at least, Adrian.
I can understand
Okay.
it. I fully understand everything about Scythe's hype.
Yep.
I just disagree with
That's
almost
fine.
all of it.
Yeah, it seemed like Rebellion, Pandemic Legacy, Time Stories. Those
Yep.
were kind of the hot heat.
Yeah, which I mean, I think makes sense. I mean, all of those games are games that got a huge amount of press. They got
Yeah.
talked about a lot in a lot of different venues.
Well, and then a lot of them got released like late 2015.
yeah, or very early 2016.
Yeah, so that so
Most
if they
amount of time.
yeah, so they had the most amount of time while the like you said, the hype was still high early in the year and they was still able to level off.
I want to say Mansions of Madness probably is the latest release
Yes.
on here. Maybe Through the Ages. I don't remember exactly when that one came.
I think
Oh.
it was 2015 or
Yeah.
14.
No, the new edition,
Oh, new edition's 15, I think.
16.
Is it
It's all
16?
stats for this year. So
Well, no,
No,
that's
it-
just people bought.
yeah,
yeah. Well, for I guess for the last 2016.
Yeah.
but yeah.
yeah. So
Board Game Geek is 2016.
Yeah, and I think Mansions of Madness because people we were like they just dropped that on us. It's like it was
And
like
they had a supply.
yeah, they had a supply.
yeah,
that
it was
normally-
2015. Was
Okay.
the Through the Ages: A New Story of Civilization?
Okay.
2015.
Boom.
Boom. Sucker.
God damn, it's rated 8.8.
Yeah.
We should play sometime.
Yeah, so
The
you should buy that.
the old crappy edition.
That one's only number 11 or number 12.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
garbage.
Yeah, but these are all cool stuff sales, so
Yeah.
you can probably glean that it's probably pretty similar around the world
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
internet websites.
Definitely,
besides
yeah.
Amazon with
Yeah.
all of its monopoly sales.
I mean, I'd still be curious what Amazon's board game sales looked like. Obviously, it's going to be skewed by mass market games,
Yeah.
but
That's where a vast majority of people still get their games.
I shamefully buy a huge chunk of my board games through Amazon.
I thought you were all about local.
None-ish. It's almost all cool stuff or a miniature market for me.
Yeah.
I just buy it $100 at a time.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought 2 games from there recently, but I have a $100 gift card, so I was like,
Go.
yeah.
Done.
I try when you do a big CSI order to throw stuff on there. I do, although CSI is not local either.
No.
I mean, difference between CSI and
St.
Amazon.
Louis? St. Louis?
I would say
Really?
the difference is that it's still a game store. Like it's
That's
an
fair.
online
Yeah,
game. It's
that's
a
fair.
It's still that's what they do.
I want to say they're in St. Louis or miniature market.
No, they are in Florida.
Okay, then miniature market is in
Yes,
St. Louis.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my 2 big places.
Gotcha. Cool.
So, Board Game Geek.
Yeah, so moving on to Board Game Geek, so they've got a huge ton of stats that they share. So Board Game Geek had 9.5 million unique visitors in Q4 of 2016 compared to 8.6 in Q4 of 2015. So almost a million new unique or more unique visitors.
It just shows that it is indeed growing.
Yep.
Or maybe it might not even be growing, but the fact that people that play games are now more knowledgeable of the fact that there is a website devoted to
Becoming enthusiasts.
Yes.
In 2016, there were 250,000 new users, which accounted for 17% of the user base. So BGG is growing.
Yep.
Which I really appreciate the update they made to the actual games pages, and I hope they update their main pages in the near future.
So wait, you said it was 200,000 new ones?
250,000.
250, which is
17%.
17%. All right, so that's 1.25 million
registered users.
And so that's
I didn't register for a long time.
Well, no, yeah.
too.
So I was gonna say is that like for 1 out of every 9 people that visits it is a
Actually has
user
an account.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that sounds about right. And even some of those accounts are going to be like spam accounts, and
Yeah.
bot accounts, and stuff.
Yeah, no,
I
makes
just made an account to rate and own library stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. So they also released their end of year stats list as far as on BGG you can mark games as like owned, previously owned, want, things like
Wish
that.
list.
Right now I think there's one game I have on my wish list. I don't remember what it is. I think it's Terraforming Mars. But everything else is either own or nothing. I don't
have any previously owned
Yeah.
games.
No, well, mostly because I have yet to actually get rid of a game I've ever owned.
Oh, I've gotten rid of like 35 games.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten rid of many either.
No.
Well, I lost some, I guess, so that could count.
So anyway, moving on, just to touch on a couple things on this list. So Jeff's CSI list heavily can be used as a preview of some of the things on this list. By almost 10,000, the number one most owned game in 2016 was Codenames.
How much?
28,500 people marked it as owned in 2016. The next closest was 19,687 for pandEpic. pandEpic.
A lot of like
Legacy was 15,000.
Yeah.
That put it at fourth. Carcassonne at 15,000. So
a lot of these lists are
it was 15,000.
Oh, no, yeah. So I was going to say there are a lot of,
like all the top 10 is all just like classic.
I mean,
like, own these.
Especially if you figure, a bunch of people new joining BGG, they might have been in the hobby for a while, so they've got all these classics. So when they go through and join BGG and then add in their collection,
definitely.
a lot of these classics are getting added.
Yeah.
So the top 5 in order are Codenames, pandEpic, Seven Wonders Duel, pandEpic Legacy, and Carcassonne.
Damn, Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah.
People
love that 2-player game.
Yeah.
If you want to take it to the top 10, 6, starting at 6, Catan, then Patchwork, Seven Wonders, Love Letter, and Scythe. Splendor's at 11. So a lot of those games are all games that showed up on CSA's
No, it makes sense, yeah.
top sales list.
I know whenever I introduce people to games, like Splendor is definitely one of the ones that I do, or, Carcassonne. I know some people do Carcassonne, pandEpic, and all that stuff. So, like you said, those ones definitely make sense. Legacy definitely makes sense. Seven Wonders, Duel, just because of its spike and increase in the cheapness relative to other games too. Yeah.
So there is, now this is a real quick just browse through this whole list that I made, so I might have missed something, but it looks like there is one mass market game that made the top 100 most owned games. Do you guys want to take a crack at what the mass market game that made that list would be?
Clue.
I am going to say Scrabble.
You are both wrong. I'm just
anything?
double checking to make sure that neither of those are actually on this list. And yeah, you're both wrong.
Okay.
It's Risk. Number 99 with 4,641
Wow.
new.
Regular old Risk.
Number 100, the only one below Risk on the top 100, Suburbia. Get it together, Suburbia.
That sort of had its peak.
It's a much better game.
Yeah, it's a good game.
But yeah, no, I mean, like even like an older game like Bonanza was number 75. Like, there's a lot of older stuff that's shown up on here. So
what's at the top of the wish list?
So
I'll give you a hint.
Says knowingly.
Yeah.
yeah, it should be no surprise to anybody. I mean, the top 2 are 2 of the most popular games this year. It's Terraforming Mars and Scythe.
Yep.
Terraforming Mars is on 6,600 wish lists, and Scythe is on 5,800. Blood Rage on number 3 kind of surprised me. I didn't think Blood Rage was that hard to find. That so many people.
It might be people like you that are like,
It's on my wish list. I'm probably not going to buy it anytime soon, even though it's available.
Yeah, you might like, I want it, but I only want it if I can get the Kickstarter stuff.
That's fair.
It's on my wish list.
Some other like number 51 on that list is Agricola. Like you can just go get Agricola.
Well, it's that they want it. Like, well, because I know some people keep wish lists for like, Christmas and
Gifts
stuff
and
like
stuff.
yeah. They'll be like, you
that's
check my wish list
fair.
and you can see.
Yeah.
Or there are ones like, I want to get this at some point, but I have other things I want to focus on, or I don't. This maybe sounds surprising, Adrian. There's some people that are like, I can only afford 2 or 3, maybe 4 games a year. And so,
Nonsense.
I know.
Absolute nonsense.
Yeah. The fact that I just bought 4 in the last week or so is.
So I think this is kind of an interesting thing. The top 3 games that were marked as previously owned. So in theory, these are games that people had and then moved on from.
Okay.
In order, pandEpic, Catan, Dominion. Small World if you want to go to 4. Netrunner if you want to go to 5.
So I can totally understand Netrunner because I've thought about unloading mine at various points.
It's becoming daunting to collect that.
Yeah, and it's moving so fast that I'm like, I don't even...
Is it a data pack a month now?
Well, that's fine, but it's just the fact that it seemed like the last cycle that I paid attention to, it seemed like every data pack, it was like, oh, there's these cards that change the meta.
Yeah.
Like,
Those are too needed.
Yeah, they're too needed, and you're just like, oh, I gotta mess with that, and then it's like when you finally played one, and then it's like a new one comes out. Oh yeah, we got new ones that are change the meta or completely counter that one that you just created. And you're like, oh fuck, well I got to do something else.
You know what you do? Get rid of Netrunner.
Yeah, pandEpic and Dominion. And what was the other one?
pandEpic, Catan, Dominion are the top 3.
I can understand those a bit too because
they're older, more intro games. People might be moving on from them.
Yeah.
I mean, even same with like Small World. It's a pretty solid intro game that I can see people moving on to bigger and better area control games.
Some people keep like maybe 50 games in their collection and then that's it.
Some people actively cull their collection.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Crazy people.
I mean,
I don't want to remove any games from my collection until it becomes a health hazard.
How many dead cats have to be killed by your collection? Well,
I know for me, like when if I buy 30 new games in a year, when we get the to the giveaway, then it's just like, oh, okay, well, these are 5 games I'm probably not going to play anymore, so I'm okay with doing that.
That makes sense.
Because especially when you have a lot of games, like I know Tom Vassell, his like 330, that's his size, and then
such an arbitrary number.
Well, I think it's just based on how everything fits and all that stuff, but. At some point, it's going to have to be an arbitrary number. What's the difference between that and 300? Nothing, besides literally the 30 games. I mean, choosing 330 versus choosing 300. And his is every time he gets a game, he has to get rid of a game. So
that's fair. One thing looking over this list that I think is interesting, like you guys said, you pretty much only have owned is what you mark. And I mean, if you look at the numbers, it makes sense. The top one for owned Codenames was 28,000. The top for previously owned at pandEpic was 1,100.
Yeah.
And then the most wish list was only 6,000. So clearly most people mark what they own. They don't fill out the other things.
Yeah. I want to know how many were on the open for trade or whatever, like wants to trade for this.
I'm a little disappointed they didn't publish like all of the possible options.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool just getting to see those 3. It's interesting to scroll through them. Some of them like Hanabi is 23 on the most new. Mm-hmm. For as cheap as Hanabi is, I'm surprised. And it's a great little like simple filler that you can just take everywhere. I don't know. I'm surprised. I would think it'd be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
It's cool seeing some of the older games like Dixit's 33. Dixit's a little bit older. Lords of Waterdeep's a little bit older. It's at 39. Power Grid's 54. People are still picking it up.
Hot stats.
Because
it's still being made.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unlike Terraforming Mars. Never to be seen again. That new version's going to come out February, and it's going to be like way better. It's going to be like, look at this insert. Look at these player mats.
It's only the insert that's changed.
Yeah. We'll see.
And
they just pull a big surprise.
I mean, I hope so, but like
second edition.
It's like
when I was talking with Andrew, he was saying that I was like, yeah, I'll get the new one. I'm like, it's like maybe a couple like minute rule changes things and an insert. That's it.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh.
Watch them. Like, I'd really like them to just surprise everybody, and the player boards are more like the Scythe ones, where like for the income tracks, they're like indented so your thing doesn't move off of what income you're on.
They're going to have to not build that in the U.S. if they want that.
Small price to pay.
Yeah,
Seems like this reprint's taking forever.
it is. Well, why do you care? You already got your copy.
I know.
He just wants other people to own it so we're not always playing his copy.
Yeah. It's sleeved now at least. Mm-hmm. I want to see that number 23 go higher.
Yeah.
When more people own it.
Yeah,
That's true.
So this was kind of interesting, I guess, kind of going along with some numbers. Our board games did a end of year poll for their top 10, which ended up expanding to 11 games. And I was surprised Terraforming Mars was only 6 on their list, with almost half as many votes as Scythe, which was number 1. But I think that, like a couple people mentioned in the comments, and like you guys are saying here, like a lot of it I think is just nobody's gotten to play Terraforming Mars.
Not enough copies out there for enough people to be obsessed.
Yep.
Yeah, it's basically only the people that knew about it had a chance to buy it.
Yeah.
It's like that episode of Star Trek Next Generation where they have the little eyeglasses where they make the game, where they have to throw the discs in the cones and then they become mind controlled. That's Terraforming Mars.
Okay.
Sure.
I haven't seen that episode, so...
Only people that watch Next Generation know the obsession that is Terraforming Mars.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. One of the surprising ones on that board game,
There will be dozens of people that
List?
understand that reference.
Dozens of us.
from the subreddit, was that Captain Sonar made it to 3. Which,
Yes.
don't get me wrong, I loved Captain Sonar. It's a great game. I'm surprised that many people were able to play it, that it got that high of ratings, considering, you need like at least 4, preferably 6 to... Or no, you need at
preferably
least
8.
6, preferably
Yeah.
8.
Yeah.
So like I'm surprised that many people were able to get at the table were like, oh yeah, this game's
I
awesome.
know 7 other people that can play this game with me.
Yeah. It seemed like everyone who had a chance of playing it, like very few people were like, this is not that good.
Yeah.
So,
It's real fun.
I've played almost all of the games on our board games top 10. The only ones I haven't are Sushi Go Party and Arkham Horror LCG.
haven't played. We need to play
Own
that.
I haven't played it.
Everything else I've played though.
Oh, right. One last game that I did play that I forgot to mention because I sort of blocked it out of my mind was Mage Knight.
Oh,
Yeah, played that and I was like, I'm okay if I don't play this again.
Yeah.
Very highly rated.
Yes.
We played a lot of For Sale too.
We did, yes. How did
And by
that
a
go?
lot, I mean 3 games. 2 games. I lost real bad. Got kind of mad.
Who won?
Did you win both? Yeah, you won both of them.
Handily.
Like 60,000 to like my 30
I had 62 and 66,000.
shenanigans.
Is this a card game?
Yeah.
Is
No,
that kind of? No?
it's not really. Maybe. I mean, it has
it has
cards.
cards.
It's not. It's an auction game,
Okay.
basically.
A
Or a bidding
bidding
game.
and auction.
Yeah.
I was like, is this an arbitrarily large amount of numbers for a card game?
No. It's 66 points is what I got, basically.
Gotcha.
But it's in thousands.
I do like the game still though.
Yeah.
I didn't understand how you were getting so many more than me. You were doing real good and I was doing real bad.
I was doing the math up in my brain, my accounting brain.
Yeah, I'm not going to play house selling and buying games with a fucking accountant ever again. But all right, well, that I think thoroughly wraps up our discussion too.
Yes, it does.
for the day.
For 2016 hot stats.
Yep. So, Jeff, we got an email.
Oh, God. We do. It's very long. I'm not reading the whole thing.
Luckily, he included a TLDR.
TLDR.
Many iPhone pages of swiping.
So much swiping.
Yeah.
Just swiping and swiping.
Comes from Chris, one of our listeners, one of our many dozens of listeners. I know it's kind of long to read on the show, so here is the TLDR as I swipe down to it.
So this one, before you read it, just for this first point to make sense, this was in direct response to episode 25 where we reviewed Great Western Trail. So
Yes.
that's what some of these answers are specifically in reference to.
So many new and unavailable games featured on your podcast, but I have this one, so screw all those other losers, was his first sentence.
Yep.
You guys suck for only talking about the latest hotness, but since I have this hotness, it's okay. This is not a cow delivery deck management game. It just looks like it is. Mm-hmm. It's actually 3 totally different games, and strategies merged together fairly seamlessly. Cows and deck management, building and player interaction, and train points race ? In parentheses. 2 players pretty good, 4 players too long, 3 players is just right. 4 player doesn't add anything to the game beyond 3 players except length, which I could see.
Yeah.
Is this a great game? I honestly don't know. Every time I play, I want to try it just one more time. If that continues, then it's great. P.S. I haven't heard you use gentleman's as an adjective lately, and I'm a big fan of that.
I'm now curious. Is he saying he's a big fan of us not using it, or?
Yeah, I think like, oh, this is a gentleman's 50 I scored.
I'm saying,
which I agree. I'm glad we don't use that as an adjective. Gentleman's as an adjective is way overused.
I think the answer to that is in this next sentence, which is, great show as always. Keep scratching that gentleman's terraforming bloody minute Bronco Euro itch, Chris.
So we do somewhat talk about the latest hotness. We especially there at the end of the year, we happen to get our hands on a couple hotnesses and talk about them. We're back off the hotness.
Oh God. Sorry.
What?
The way how you feel about gentlemen's, I feel about hotness.
It's an actual category on BGG.
I know, but the word itself is.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Cringy.
Yes.
The cow delivery deck management game, it just looks like it is. That was kind of a revolutionary thing to me. Apparently, Chris should have a podcast and not us. But I agree. Like, I hadn't thought of the fact that it is a lot more than just a deck building game. I do see the three different games. They're all there: the cows and deck management, the building and player interaction. And I like that he put the trains point race in a question mark, because I totally it looks on the board like that should be a strategy. Like, if you get your train all the way around that corner and towards the end, there's a lot of points there.
It's a lot of train movement.
It can. You just have to work towards that.
You have to dedicate yourself.
Well, and how we were playing the couple times we did it, we weren't built towards that at all. Like, I've gotten it around the bend once.
Yeah.
But
by one space.
Yeah.
I do agree with his assessments on player counts after having played it a few times. And I agree. 4 doesn't add anything besides length.
And the community probably agrees.
Yep. At 3 players, I mean, essentially you're taking off a quarter of the length, because you're only filling, of the 4 slots, you're only filling 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, and then same thing like we were just mentioning a second ago. I don't know if this is a great game or not. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'll update you listeners when I eventually decide one way or the other.
I'm just going to go all fucking trains next time.
So, as always, Chris, we appreciate the emails, especially.
We all did read it, by the way, Chris.
And it's a fantastic email. I'm really happy you put all that thought and time into it. That was the only email, though, that we got over the holidays.
Yep.
Couple other little bits and pieces. I'm going to be picking up my registration for Geekway to the West, which will be in May in St. Louis. We have our 1-year anniversary coming up January 21st.
Day after Inauguration Day.
Yep. Genghis Khan is coming up here pretty soon
February.
Here in Denver. I'll probably try and go to that. And yeah, it's, still early for con season, but I'm already starting to look forward to cons in 2017. So, which I think is a good sign.
Yep.
As always, if anybody wants to get a hold of us, you can send us emails at milehighgameguys.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter at MHGameGuys, or
Jeff_MHGG.
Zach_MHGG.
We're on Instagram at Mile High Game Guys, and we have a Board Game Geek Guild under Mile High Game Guys, and Facebook, and I think that's
Instagram.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Did you?
I did. So we got all those awesome ways you can get in touch with us and interact with us if you're not in the Denver area. And if you're in the Denver area, stop out to one of our game nights on a Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
We're pretty
6
much
PM,
always there.
somewhere
drinking
different.
and gaming. So review us on iTunes, Stitcher, podcast app of choice. We like reviews. And if you're international and you review us, please tell us so that we can actually check the international version of the website that your review is on, because iTunes only shows reviews for the country of origin, which is obnoxious. But
the hassle we have to deal with for you people.
Yes.
What do you mean, you people?
The international listeners.
What do you mean, you people? But all right, as always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Druid Jeff.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.